Hey there, you can call me Raven, and this is the Dead and Dusty Dad podcast, episode 3. Happy Spooktober. I'm here to discuss the horror games that I'll be covering either for Halloween in the future or in just any other time slot, depending on availability and such. As always, I'm here to cover games and other things that my dead as hell dad can't, due to him no longer having opposable thumbs and the other bits that gamers need to appreciate the finer things in life. If you like to watch my current holiday special for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1, that is up on the channel. And speaking of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the first game I'll be talking about in this podcast episode is going to be Bloodlines 2. Right, so Bloodlines 2 came out, I believe, on the 20th or so, maybe the 21st. It was recently, it was like 4 or 5 days ago. And, we had been waiting years for it. We had found out that after the first studio that was getting the opportunity to work on it, got it taken away from them for various reasons. Not a lot of them good reasons. A lot of the original creators of the first game were working on it. I guess the head writer, I believe, Brian Mitsoda. I think he was the head writer. I think he was the one involved in that. After it got taken away from the first studio, it was handed off to a second studio, who I don't know if we ever learned who that second studio was, but it was handed off to a third studio who mostly makes those walking simulator sort of games. I believe it's the Chinese Room. I believe that's the name of the company that eventually started working on it. So a company mostly known for making games in which you just kind of like walk around and interact with the environment. Very story focused games, not very actiony or role playing focused. So already off to a good start. And that got delayed like twice, I believe, until finally releasing as it did. And oh boy, almost everything I hear is bad. The main story is okay, I guess, but there's not whole lot of role playing elements in it. That you don't really have stats and all that. The upgrades to your character are linear for the most part, I believe. There might be side grades. The side quests are mostly fetch quests. The city looks cool. The city of Seattle looks cool, but I guess it runs poorly, and also there's not a whole lot of reasons to investigate around. You don't really pick stuff up to sell off or as part of side quests. It's just generally not that great of a game, unfortunately. And so I'm not going to be covering that game next year, most likely. It's going to get a couple of DLCs, I guess, featuring a couple of the minor secondary villains from the game. You get to play as them, so that's neat. Instead, I'll likely be checking out Alan Wake 1, which brings me to the next grouping of games, which is the games in the Remedyverse, which are the Alan Wakes 1 and 2, as well as Control. It also includes the side games for Alan Wake, which it's I haven't played the side game. It's like his Alan Wake's American Nightmare or something. My old man, I believe, only played one. So I'll play through the game that he played. I believe it's a remaster. I'll probably play through that next year, yeah, for Halloween. And then he never played Alan Wake 2. I believe he died before that came out, and I don't think he got around to playing Control. And from what I've read, apparently Alan Wake and Control are going to keep getting games, so the universe is going to keep expanding, which is pretty cool. I believe that the what is it, Quantum Break or something is also technically set in the Remedyverse, but they don't own the rights to it because it was distributed by another company. So sort of like with Max Payne, they don't get to really own that anymore. Next grouping of games that I'll be covering eventually is games that take place in Lovecraftian stuff like Call of Cthulhu 2018 and The Sinking City 1 and then the eventual Sinking City 2. My old man had played Call of Cthulhu 2018, I believe, and Sinking City 1. I'm not sure if he finished either of them. Now, despite the, for his time, exceptional racism, I mean, this man was so afraid of the Welsh that his fish people were based upon the Welsh. And man, he was afraid of air conditioning, he was afraid of colors. He There's not a lot that H.P. Harry Harold, whatever the fuck his name was, wasn't afraid of. And it's through his fear of the unknown that brings about all of the fish-tacular bullshit that he spat out over the years. Admittedly, that stuff doesn't really work on me because I enjoy learning about things, and it's almost the fact that, like, humans can't really generate what we don't know, so that doesn't work on me. The closest thing is that when, let's say you're in a video game, right, and you fall into blue hell or whatever, you fall in between a level. That's the sort of thing where it's like, oh, I shouldn't see this. This feels unnerving to see. Very liminal in a bad way. So yeah, I'll be covering those games on the channel eventually, either as part of the spooky times, or just, whenever. The next year is pretty much already filled out in terms of what games I'll be playing. Next is a game which might not make it into spooky times, but it is a little spooky. Spiritfarer is a game in which you play a psychopomp. I believe you play as a girl, some young girl, and you help the dead move on, and you're on like a boat or something. I just know that it's going to make me cry. My ocular limits are going to be tested. And so with this game, it likely won't be on a spook, like for Halloween. I want to stick to more, actually kind of scary games. But I was like, well, like ghost games, but I put them on here. Moving on to the next sort of games I'll also be covering. The World of Darkness other games other than Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 1 and 2, and what have you. You see, it's almost like they're cursed. Almost every World of Darkness video game, has issues with it. Either it runs like shit, it's just not very good, or it's fundamentally has issues. You see, there's some games called Night Road, which is for Vampire the Masquerade, and The Book of Hungry Names, which is for Werewolf. Now, these are both by the same guy. I think they're distributed by a company called Choice of Creation or something. Something like that. Anyway, they're visual novels, but here's the thing, right? What is in a visual novel? Now, they do contain words, right? But visually, it's mostly just words. There's no pictures, right? As far as I remember, I played a little bit of Night Road to test it out, like last year, November, or something like that for funsies. And I was like, this visual novel doesn't have much in the way of visuals. The worst part is that there's character art online, and they could have just put that in to help, you know, stimulate you in the eyeballs, but they didn't. Which, here's the thing, you might be like, oh, they surely you don't need images. Surely there's not other games with images. But here's the thing. I looked it up in the werewolf games, Heart of the Forest and Purgatory, separate games. They're visual novels with visuals, so it is possible. Maybe it's the engine that Night Road and the Book of Hungry Book of Hungry Names uses, but it's just like, man, when I get a visual novel, I kind of sort of want a novel that's visual, like a playable comic book almost, right? They have a little have a motherfucker standing there with their arms crossed, looking all grumpy and shit, and then you say something that's cool, and then they're all, yeah, I've played Coffee Talk, technically a visual novel. I'll be playing Valhalla, other visual novels as well. I've played other sorts of visual novels too, ones that I can't really play on YouTube. But there is a YouTuber I know of that covers those sorts of visual novels. But that's likely it for the World of Darkness games. There's other games in the series, like in the same universe and all that, but from all that I can tell, they kind of suck a lot of dick. Like, one of them, I don't think you can manually save, which another issue with Bloodlines 2, you can't manually save. That's a big I hate that so much. We figured that shit out in like, what was it? The 80s? Like 80s. What was it? I want to say Final Fantasy 1 was the first game that had the save manual save system in it. I was doing a trivia game the other day. I was being the host and I believe that was one of the fun facts. So yeah, fucking I don't like it when games don't let you just manually save. If you can't manually save and if you can't like pause the game. So uh Dark Souls, those sorts of games, I'm not really into. If I need to go and shit and I'm playing a Dark Souls, man, that would be awful. Moving on though, we have a DLC for a game. We have Undead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption 1. I wish Red Dead Redemption 2 had an Undead Nightmare. That would have been dope as shit. But unfortunately, shark cards sell too much, and Rockstar really has issues, and all of their original writers are gone. I believe now, right? With the release of GTA 6 coming up, I believe the Hauser brothers are out. And their former lead, like I don't know, director guy or whatever, I don't know if I'm getting. It might be the wrong guy, but like Leslie Benzie or some shit like that. He's off making some other game, which apparently I've heard bad things about. So that's a thing. But yeah, I might do Undead Nightmare in a not. It's pretty short, so I could probably do like two small. I could do like a visual novel as a podcast, and then I could do Undead Nightmare as sort of like the visual shit because it's what the campaign is. What maybe like 20 hours max. So altogether, the playthroughs and shit would just gonna be like 30 because 10 for the visual novel, 20 for the Undead Nightmare. I've never fully finished Undead Nightmare actually. That'll be pretty cool. And it's on, PC now. That's pretty dope. I wish they brought over Red Dead Redemption 1's multiplayer. I had months logged in. That was some good shit, man. Following up, and this is the last category. This is going to be a shorter, you're going to see from the episode length, but between the fact that I'm not really into horror games, so I don't have a whole lot of games that cover really to talk about. And also, I've just been struggling with recording this. It's like every 5 minutes, like every like 3 to 5 minutes, the audio it just stops recording, and I gotta speak of the devil. It just did it. That little break I just had, the like I don't know, like that like second or whatever. That was it pausing. I don't know how to fix this problem. Even just getting the mic working tonight was abysmal. I rejiggered it. I unhooked things. It doesn't help that this is a Frankenstein mic setup. Thankfully, the audio doesn't sound awful, but still, it's not the best. Anyway, last category, and unfortunately, I had to knock one off because they took Oxenfree off of itch.io, and I didn't get it in time. I guess I'll have to pick it up some other way. But I had it on the part of the I got the bundle for racial justice and whatever the fuck else from back in the day. I helped fund getting people out of jail for protesting and shit. And I got like 1,000 games, 1,000 indie games. Anyway, yeah, indie games like Night in the Woods and A Mortician's Tale. Likely a lot of other spooky dooky games. There's that one those lesbians in the woods. They're like Girl Scouts or what, I don't know what the fuck they were. But that's a third game. I could do that for a spooky dooky year. But yeah, Night in the Woods, nice and spooky. A Mortician's Tale, I think less so spooky, but it's goth and stuff. That's cool. I believe the main character's trans or something. I believe it's been tagged as trans in some stuff that I've seen, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, so a little cute little games. And Night in the Woods has, I believe the main character, what is her name, like Mae West or some shit? She is pansexual, I believe, and then her best buddy is a gay fox, and then he has a boyfriend who's a bear, as in the animal, a bear. I get he might also be considered a bear. I don't know if he's like hairy for a bear, because like bear is like a hairy fat gay guy, but he's also like what was his name, like August or some shit, something dorky but endearingly. He's a cool guy, but yeah, he's like some chubby nerd who wears glasses, if I remember right. It's been a bit. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen footage. It looks cute. It looks cool. But yeah, I guess that's the end. Well, you know what? I'll talk about. Yeah, I don't like being jump scares. I'm not into that. I'm into more like psychological horror. I watched like true. I've seen like I was into like a lot of true crime stuff growing up. Um, Studying cults and all that stuff. My old man oh, you know what? Yeah, why not? Yeah, fuck it. Back in the 80s, he was one of those edgy teenagers that was a Satanist. He did cocaine and worshiped Satan. Uh, so yeah, that's your spooky fun fact about my old man. Was his first thing when the internet was like a thing he could get on was like looking up satanic shit. So it's just to give you an idea of what sort of a fucking dork ass fucking wannabe he was. He had some books of Satan stuff and all that. But yeah, a bunch of family friends, my birth giver called herself a Wiccan or some shit. But they're all like messy crackers that don't understand how religions work. They try to just mix a bunch of religions together, and it's philosophical. I mean, there's some philosophical concepts behind it. It was what is synchronicity or some shit like that. There's some word. Yeah, I guess that's it for the bulk of this episode. And it's time to go into my outro. Sorry, I couldn't. I love Halloween. I love carving jack o' lanterns. My old man and I would do it sometimes. Roasting pumpkin seeds is fun. The Night Before Christmas is my favorite movie. This episode is coming out on Halloween, and I'm gonna be watching The Nightmare for Christmas with my roommate. It's gonna be great. We're gonna stay up late. She's got Saturday off. My audio cut out again. And it's just gonna be a good old time. We might get another pumpkin that makes more seeds, man. That's some. Oh man, I love it. Maybe I don't know if she likes candied apples. We could totally make some of those. Those are great. Maybe get some nuts on that shit. Man, I love it. But yeah, outro time. I guess. Man, I could have sung a song from The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'll save that. I'll do that one of these years. I'll do that. I don't have it in me right now. I'm fighting just to get this recorded, man. So, I would like to thank you for watching, as well as my current patron over on Patreon. There's only one at the moment, but his support still means a lot to me. His name is Connor, and I thank him for showing his support for my work. If you'd like to support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. In addition, I have a GoFundMe to help raise money to investigate my dad's potential murder. That's pretty spooky, right? That he might have been murdered. That's gosh darn spooky. I mean, I don't think it was by Satanists, but he would have thought he was killed by Satanists. Instead, it was some drug connected people. I mean, I guess, yeah, he did cocaine with Satanists, and then he got back into cocaine. But I don't think that it was involved. It would be wild though if they also turned out to be Satanists. If they do, man, I've been thinking about writing about all this. It's gonna be great. It's in the weave. Oh hell, my life really does sound like a shitty sitcom. I remember back when I had a sitcom arch nemesis in the form of a ceiling rodent. Oh hell, I'll tell that story in the future. Oh, I guess I should talk a little bit about the Patreon. I do have a tier for if you want me to talk about basically any topic for like 15 to 20 minutes or so, just a little episode or whatever. Just a little mini essay with gameplay in the background is the video. Basically, if you want me to research and talk about a thing for like 50 to 20 minutes, I love doing that shit. If you give me $20 a month or whatever, I'll do it every month. If you just want to do it for 1 month, that's fine. I might eventually have some way in which you can give me just $20 and I'll just do it. I'll get like a coffee set up or whatever it is, or Ko-fi or however people pronounce it. Both my Patreon and my GoFundMe will be available in the description below. There's going to be links there. I will see you next time. And until then, stay safe, stay alive, and remember that trans rights are human rights.